Joining us now on Sports Talk ATL, Big Low Country, and I have to do it again. Hey, ho, ho, Arthur Smith. What? You changed it up. You changed it up now that he's gone. What's the new one now that he's gone? Was it hit the door?
Ho, ho, hey. Man, there's been so many. Yeah, hey, ho, ho. Arthur Smith has hit the door. That's it. That's what.
Yeah. But so we got a new one. Your wife was. Is she happy? Is she happy on this on this new week? She's there. That's it. Happy wife, happy life. That's what they say. I got to ask you, though, there's been a lot of rumors. We obviously had the press conference on Monday. I don't know how much of you that watched it, but what's your confidence level on the Falcons getting this next decision right with the head coach, with Arthur Blank and Rich McKay leading the way?
I know that's been a huge topic of discussion, especially on Twitter these last few days. I'm pretty confident. I think Terry Fontenot will have a chance to have significant input on what who the next head coach will be. I don't think there's going to be too many hiccups, and I actually have a guy chosen. I'm pretty sure we're going to get into that a little bit later, in my humble opinion.
I don't know how much confidence I really have. And it has nothing to do with Terry Fontenot, and it has everything to do with Rich McKay and Arthur Blank. And it's not like, this franchise is the worst franchise ran in sports, but, we're stuck in mediocrity right now. We haven't made the playoffs in 6-7 years. That's one of the longest streaks in the NFL. That's a definition of mediocrity. So what do you see as more important? Because I know my answer is getting the right head coach or getting the right quarterback. Not that they have to be mutually exclusive, but in my opinion, nothing's going to get fixed regardless of the head coaching hire until we get a guy in the building under center that we know is the future of this franchise.
Yes. I think it all starts with the head coach. I think it all starts at the top and comes down. I feel like, I said this last week whenever we talked. I feel like Desmond Ridder wouldn't have been as bad if we had a more creative and a more, forward-thinking head coach. So, of course, we do need another quarterback. I feel like last year's experiment kind of messed up Desmond Ridder's psyche. But I feel like the head coach and actually having a quarterback's coach and, let's be honest, actually having the offensive coordinator will definitely help the situation with whoever comes in.
So you briefly mentioned it. It seems like you're not as steamed up about it, but obviously Terry Fontenot wasn't at the press conference, which stirred a lot of things up among them. And then you hear all these rumors about Bill Belichick and stuff like that. And obviously we know about him and how he wants to be involved in the GM process and those personnel decisions. And I think I heard Michael Lombardi bring up the fact that if they do go get a guy like Bill Belichick, it could mean Terry Fontenot, his role's even lessened and maybe it's gone altogether. What are your thoughts on that? Or it seems like you're kind of like you think Terry Fontenot is going to be heavily involved, but it definitely seems odd at the very least.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's definitely odd, but we kind of have to think about it from a different point of view. Some people say that they believe Terry Fontenot should have been gone as well, along with Arthur Smith. Now, one thing that we do have to consider is it's the reason why they brought Terry Fontenot here in the first place. Like, the reason why they brought Terry Fontenot here is so we could kick the can down the road like the New Orleans Saints have been doing for the last 20 years. They've been robbing Peter to pay Paul to put something on layaway for Susan for the last 25 years. Like we've consistently saw it. So, moving forward, it's like Terry Fontenot, he's been an integral part of that for 15 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Under Mickey Loomis. So Terry Fontenot came in to be a numbers guy and, being part of the personnel, I'm pretty sure that's something that he was definitely looking forward to. And I think he'll still have an input on it, but I don't think he's going to be, like the traditional GM situation. But I feel like he will have input on who the next head coach is.
I hope so, because like I said, Absolutely no faith in Rich McKay. He's really the guy that I just can't stand. It's crazy how often the Falcons have failed with the head coaches. And I'm not saying they've had terrible head coaching hires, because Mike Smith was a good hire. Dan Quinn was a good hire. And though they burnt out in the end, it's not to say they weren't good hires. I think that winning the Super Bowl shouldn't be it's not ones and zeros. Dan Quinn was a good hire for that period. But there's still one constant in this, and he's always free of blame, and it's Rich McKay. That's the guy I have the biggest problem with. It's not the fact that I don't have faith in Terry Fontenot or think that Arthur Blank is just this, inept owner. I just think that Rich McKay is like he's just like poison in Arthur Blank's ear. And Arthur Blank just turns to him at every waking moment. He's the guy I've got the biggest gripe with, because every time a regime fails in Atlanta, Rich McKay is still here. He gets the cheers for when the Falcons made the Super Bowl in 2016. He doesn't get the blame when they go on to fail. But that's either nor there. I just can't stand the guy. I want to talk about the only head coaching candidate the Falcons have been connected to. Rumors, reports, I don't care, wazoo. Bill Belichick, thoughts?
I don't want Bill Belichick here. I mean, if you look at the way that the direction that the NFL is going, you have the Sean McVays and the Mike McDaniels, the LaFleurs, the Kyle Shanahans, and this is a term that we use down south. It's a young Thundercat league. It's young guys that are coming in, new innovative ways of thinking. Mike McDaniels comes with the jogging pants with them hiked up halfway up his calf. It's it's a young man coach's game now, and I really feel like, and I don't want to sound bitter or mean or hateful when I say this. I feel like Bill Belichick, his old school ways of cheating just don't work anymore.
Well, Jim Harbaugh just showed you it's pretty effective still at some level of football.
Yes.
I do want to hear your opinion. You mentioned it briefly earlier, or you kind of you hinted to it. Who are you looking at? Who do you think? Who would you like? Who do you think will be the next head coach of the Atlanta Falcons?
I would like Jim Harbaugh. I think his new school ways of cheating would help. I'm just playing, but seriously, like whenever you look at what he did in San Francisco, think about it. Think about how Vernon Davis was a perennial tight end, and we have a guy who has potential to be a perennial tight end in Kyle Pitts. Think about how Michael Crabtree was a legit weapon, and you have a legit weapon in Drake London, Frank Gore. I feel like Bijan Robinson is a more skilled runner. I don't know if he'll have the longevity, but I feel like he's a more skilled runner than Frank Gore. And look at what he did with Colin Kaepernick, who came out of Nevada, and nobody thought he would be nothing more than a career backup. He has a chance to get his own quarterback. I feel like Jim Harbaugh could legit come in and turn things around for the Atlanta Falcons.
I think that's an interesting thing that you noted there, that back in 2012, it was kind of thought of as gimmicky, the Colin Kaepernick offense. It was like gimmicky. It was like, you're going to do that. And now it's prevalent. Everybody in the NFL is doing some wrinkle with option reads, run past options and things like that. So I do think that is noteworthy, that, Michigan's offense is a pro style offense. And for college sake, it's kind of outdated. Obviously, they just won the national championship, so it doesn't really matter. But I think that it just shows you that he can kind of see his personnel and just dictate. He'll let the personnel kind of dictate what the offense or defense is going to look like. I think that's a very important note. And I would love to have Jim Harbaugh, proven winner. You look at every stop along the way, the guy has done nothing but turn programs around. San Francisco, Stanford, Michigan. Michigan was obsolete. We were not talking about Michigan was an absolute dumpster fire. Ohio State didn't even mention them. They weren't even thought about. And now they're winning a national championship. I think Jim Harbaugh would be a great guy in Atlanta. Whether he has interest in it, I'm not exactly sure. I don't know what his kind of demands or even his wants would be. Obviously, money is not an issue. Nobody wants to win more than Blank. Blank's got endless pockets, so it's not going to be a money thing. And maybe it's a quarterback thing. Obviously, having Justin Herbert in Los Angeles has got to be enticing. You don't have to think about trying to go get that franchise quarterback. You've already got him. But then again, Atlanta's got to be high up there among the head coaching openings because, like you said, you just mentioned it. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson. The offensive line is there. There's talent on the defensive side. We've got all this cap space. We have all of our draft picks. Maybe that could be seen as a positive where it's like, I don't have to go into a marriage that somebody already picked him for me. I get to go in there and pick my own quarterback.
Exactly. And then, in the beautiful thing about, the situation in Atlanta is that, Arthur Blank, he made this statement during that press conference. I don't know if anyone caught it, but he was talking about, whenever Matt Ryan was here and, they tried to get Deshaun Watson, he said it wasn't a cash issue. It was a salary cap issue.
Yeah.
And he said, moving forward, he said for the last 20 years, him being able to win, it hasn't been a cash issue. It's been salary cap issues. This is his opportunity where, he could throw as much cash as he wants to at it. Because I heard that Jim Harbaugh, Harbaugh, he wanted like $20 million, if I'm not mistaken.
A humble brag, Arthur Blank saying, I got money.
I got money.
A money problem.
Yeah, I got money.
I always say I don't understand why a guy like Arthur Blank doesn't go out and be like, hey, Kyle Shanahan, here's $30 million. Like, it doesn't affect the cap. Like, it would fix a lot of problems. But Big Low, thank you so much for hopping on. Again, I'm sure we will talk with you throughout the offseason.
Thank you.
No problem. Coming up after the break, we got more Falcons stuff to discuss.